Our theme this evening is Making Brandon Better, and I want to share a wonderful example of a young person, Kayleigh Brugger, who is part of impacting our community. I've had the privilege of knowing Kayleigh Brugger for about 2 years, much less time than some of you sitting here tonight. Kayleigh volunteered at our YFC Literacy Center during those 2 years, and I was able to see her there most Wednesdays. This time last year, she spoke at our Gala event, and I was able to meet with her beforehand to hear her story and help her with what she would choose to say. She had had a very challenging year and had learned a lot, and she was very thoughtful about what she wanted to share. I was so proud of her for sharing so honestly and personally and with poise and beauty. I want to give tribute to Kayleigh tonight as someone who was able to witness her witness. I want to share with you some of the ways that Kayleigh impacted the kids at the Literacy Center and also myself as I watched her in action and watched her grow. Kayleigh was committed in her involvement at the Literacy Center. She came regularly, weekly, being there regularly, which is a big deal in creating community for at-risk or new immigrant students. Being there regularly says, you matter. She would come right after school as soon as she could, sometimes right after a dance class with a jingly costume on, or after a theme day at school, like 50s Day with a poodle skirt and a sweater. She came, I think with Timbits, to the Literacy Christmas party for the students and their families, and made it to our closing barbecue in June, even in the midst of her busy time preparing for her graduation. Kayleigh was a kid magnet. Last year she volunteered with a group of grades 4 to 6 girls, and they would wait for her to arrive. They would save a seat beside them and run up to her for a hug when she got there. There were some students that grew very attached to her. Kayleigh was willing to give of herself generously. She would sometimes bring Timbits for snack, a huge appeal for the kids. At one point, a student expressed interest in coming to church, and Kayleigh offered to take her, which included picking her up, checking with the parents to make sure it was okay, getting Timbits, going to church, and even pizza for lunch afterwards, and then dropping her off. And it didn't stay with just one student. Sometimes she took several kids with her, and this happened several times. Kayleigh had genuine compassion for others' needs. She was very concerned for one student that came to the Literacy Center who was in grade 5 and could not yet read. She would push to brainstorm ways to help this student. She collaborated with her own peers to make a hamper for the family of a literacy student when she found out that they were struggling financially. She was very concerned and very ready to respond, and to give others the opportunity to respond with her. Kayleigh had an openness to grow. She would be willing to pray for the students' needs as she became aware of them. She chose to be honest with her Wednesday volunteer team about some of her personal struggles last year, and sometimes she needed a listening ear, someone to pray for her, others who knew and shared her burden, and who watched with her for how God was working through different situations. We often prayed together for her dad. She would bring it up, or we would ask. It is what a Christian community does. She discovered more about the power of caring, praying friends, and the power of honesty to bring healing when she attended a YFC Young Leaders Conference called Just Is. Last year at the Gala, she described how she had grown in her faith through sharing about her struggles at Just Is, of losing first a friend to suicide and then the death of her cousin while she was there. Through Just Is, she experienced interacting with people living on the street. I remember her talking about the people that she had met there, very personally. She saw a person, not a problem, in each one, even in combing a lady's hair that had bugs in it. The pictures you've seen here on the screen are some windows into the Literacy Center and some of Kayleigh's moments there. Some of the slides include students writing. There were 8 students who came with me, my family, and several volunteers to Kayleigh's funeral. We gave the students each a 3x5 card and a pencil that day to write down any memories or thoughts of Kayleigh that they might want to help them in honoring her relationship with them. The written slides are what they wrote that day. One day this fall at the Literacy Center, a girl started saying that someday she would see Kayleigh in heaven. And Becky, my colleague, asked if this girl knew Kayleigh at all, and she said no, but Dana, who's a girl that comes to the Literacy Center, talks about Kayleigh all the time, and I know from what Dana said that I will see Kayleigh someday in heaven. So Kayleigh's influence continues through the love and faith in the hearts of the students that she touched. She is loved and missed very much.